Welcome to the Humanity Leadership Podcast. My name is David Wheatley. We're here to talk leadership in small, bite-sized and practical chunks. Enjoy.
Hello, this is part of our What Great Teams Do Great Issues series, and I'm Corey Fernandez with the Humanity team. All of these issues use our What Great Teams Do Great model, and this is available at humanity.com or in the book of the same name. Each issue that we're presenting in this series is followed by suggested actions to get your team back on the path to greatness or to get your team on the path to greatness. And so here's the issue. The team struggles to communicate. Some people seem unwilling or unable to share much information with others. In fact, they cite busyness as a reason for not communicating. They're kind of heads down. Meetings don't seem to help much either. Many participants are quiet for most or all of the meeting. And so what do we do? What are some actions? Well, first, before going to the actions, let's just kind of explore some reasons why this lack of communication might exist. One reason is people might be legitimately so busy that they are heads down. They just need to remain quiet, get on with the things that they need to get done. Perhaps they're kind of moving through their to-do list or thinking through things that are pressing and urgent for them. And that busyness, as soon as it kind of lifts up, maybe they've been some reprioritization, a project gets off their plate, perhaps they're more willing and likely to engage then when some of that stress, that pressure is off of them. Another reason is team members may be fearful and protect information as a means to achieve job security. They might want to withhold information from peers as a place of power to kind of have that as a chip to play, so to speak, or a card to play. They might be withholding because they are fearful of what that information will say about the team or their own performance, and so on. And so, that's counterintuitive, or it's not very a rational response, because oftentimes poor performance is rooted in some cases in a lack of appropriate information sharing. So something has to give there, or else we find that we do have a track record of poor performance when we withhold information oftentimes. But that's one of the reasons why that people ultimately might be withholding or quiet and not sharing. Another reason, and in fact, it's probably the most common reason, is that communication is hard to get right. People, we just might not be very good at it. Whether it's this means, right, where we're talking kind of face to face, whether it's through some of the communication channels that we have digitally and so on. And some of the systems of achieving and keeping clarity just might not have been established. So it can be hard to get right. And so some of the actions we can take when all these reasons might exist is, one, we should be focused on regularly trying to train and support our people or our teammates or ourselves with the ability to communicate more effectively. We should be working on how well we're listening and what it looks like to listen really well, how well we're communicating clearly. And some of these training can be easily accessible through online courses and so on, or through training courses and partners like Humanity. And in other cases, we want to make sure that we are creating environments where people feel safe to speak up. Now, I'm working with a client right now where every Q4, they get incredibly busy. Every Q4, they're incredibly busy. And it's that busyness that ramps up. People are under high stress. It's nonstop and so on. And so it's not a very pleasant time to try to pause and check in with meetings. It's also not a time where people want to spend a lot of time kind of trying to do new things and so on. They're stressed, right? They're carrying a lot. And so this client has actually created a check-in in August and September, two of them, ahead of Q4, so that they can actually create a meaningful dialogue before that stress peaks. People feel safe in that environment. It's open. It's a space where people can kind of clear the air about some of the things that they're anticipating and reach out for help, especially at a time where it's proactively ahead of that busy Q4. And so it's about creating safety. That's one of the important actions we can take. And the other thing we can do is kind of a tried and true method is to avoid the intimidation of large groups and some of the challenging dynamics, right? We should focus on trying to create smaller group settings or break out into smaller groups where we use breakouts and smaller teams or smaller groups and pods with questions. There's nothing more engaging than a great question and a really good group of people, a small group of people to try to go after a set of questions and explore what they know and put things on the table, and then be able to collect that and bring that to a larger group, right? As a means to kind of help the larger group then move forward, because that small group output becomes an input to the larger group and helps that larger group then do what it needs to do to get going. And so those are some things to keep out when this issue occurs, some of the reasons, of course, and some of the actions to be aware of. We hope you find these series helpful, some quick hitting bites to kind of get you thinking about how to get your team back onto a path of greatness. Thank you so much. Again, I'm Corey Fernandez with the Humanergy team.
That was the Humanergy Leadership Podcast. My name's David Wheatley. For further information about Humanergy, go to humanergy.com or check out our latest book, What Great Teams Do Great, from all good bookstores. Have a good one. Stay healthy.